here we are once again. Welcome to Coffee with Stuart. And who have we got in the room today? Sass Huntwood.
Hi, Stuart.
So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on Coffee with Stuart.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
And just a few questions just to ask you what it is that you do. Who are you? Where do you live? And how can you help us?
Wow. Okay. So I live in Devon. Moved here in January, just before lockdown. So it was great timing. And I run a couple of businesses. One of them is using storytelling and games to help leaders and sales professionals advance themselves and develop themselves. And then we also have an organization, a company called the Storytellers. And what we do, we capture people's stories. So I'm kind of the chief storyteller. So we capture your stories and we create a storybook of your life.
That's fantastic. Then there's so many stories are lost because people just didn't ask the questions at the time.
Absolutely. And it's so important. I'm very passionate about people telling their story. And I believe that every story is unique and remarkable. And the world deserves to hear that story. And as you say, we orally kind of transfer stories between each other, but very rarely write them down.
Yeah, they say that everybody's got a book in them.
Absolutely, and I think that's true. I think sometimes we're too humble. We don't think our story is unique, or we don't think it's worth being remembered or written down. You know, what's special about my story? And I'm just very passionate that people have got some fantastic stories and memories. And it's often the case, isn't it? You'll be looking through a photo and looking at, and what happens, what that installs in you or triggers is a memory. You know, maybe a holiday or Christmas. Or your great aunt used to do something, or particular food or cooking experience or something like that, or a restaurant you used to go to. And there's always stories behind those photos that get lost, unfortunately, as we pass on.
Yes, they do get lost. I mean, it's so often you think to yourself, I wish I knew, especially with family history and different things, people are looking for information and they really don't have anybody to go back to ask the questions.
No, absolutely. And the storytellers came from my great gran, who she was about 4 foot nothing, bit of a card shark, used to play poker and taught me poker, used to take me all my pocket money, hence why I don't gamble anymore, or ever did.
Yes.
But she used to tell me stories, and we'd sit in this big bay window in Hampton Hill, near Hampton Court, and she would just make up stories of people walking by, interlaced with stories from her past. So growing up in the 1900s in London, and how she met my great-granddad. He was a Coldstream Guard, and just, it was fascinating. But she died when I was in my teens, and I remember some of the stories, but not all of them. Yes. So I wish I'd written them down at the time, and that's kind of where it came from.
Yes, that's fantastic. I mean, so how do you go about gathering somebody's story if they want to approach you to get a story?
So what we tend to do is we use technology such as this, Zoom, or FaceTime or Skype, whatever works for them, and we kind of have a chat, very much like what we're doing today, and talk about their life, their memories, and we have a few hours on chatting over a cup of tea and biscuit, and then what we do is we capture those, plus all the photos. Maybe you've got particular poems that mean something to you, ticket stubs, anything like that, and we then encapsulate it and create a digital and hardback storybook. So it's A4. You get a printed hardback copy that you can then share and leave as a legacy or share with your family.
It's lovely to hand that down through the family. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we're finding that, and we launched called In Loving Memory Books, which for those who have passed on, unfortunately, I found when a relative died, you get all those wonderful condolences messages, don't you? You get the cards, but you also get them digitally now. And how do you encapsulate that? How you can take all those messages as memories? So we're creating these books that we interview the loved ones and the family, and we get all their memories and stories together in a book they can then share with the wider family. So those stories that you don't often hear until you go to a wake, be shared across the family.
That's wonderful. I think it's a really brilliant idea. So what I'll do is I'll put the links to contact you in the notes below this video. So we know who you are, we know where you live, and we know what do you do. So it was just one sort of final question about business, was just to ask you, what do you think, what's your one tip that you could give our viewers about success in business?
So yeah, so I've been in business for about 7 years, 6, 7 years. I would say my top tip, and something I learned having made the mistake, is to hire experts. Hire a great team around you. You can't do everything. I tried and failed miserably. I don't have a great head for figures. So, you know, you hire a great bookkeeper, a great accountant, you know, so hiring a great team around you is so important. That would be my number one tip.
I think that's a very wise tip indeed. So for the moment, I'll just say thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
Thank you for coming for Coffee with Stuart, and we'll talk to you again soon.